Hi, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ethan. For those of you who do know me, I'm still Ethan. Anyways, today is going to be part 3 of the Traits to Train series, as I've so come to call it. One thing that I feel is also necessary. Sorry, my mind blanked for a second there. To work on, which is something that I obviously also have been working on, and I feel that I will continue to work on for the rest of my life, and that everyone else should also work on if they haven't started already, is accountability. Taking responsibility, so to speak. No, it's something that's very hard for a lot of people, sometimes even including myself, especially in regards to admitting when I was wrong. I know it is something that I struggle with, that sometimes I don't want to be wrong. Sometimes I have a hard time admitting I was wrong. But I feel that it's imperative that we all learn to do so, especially because you're not growing if you're staying stuck in a particular mindset or believing a certain thing. Obviously, that's not always the case, but there are a lot of situations in which believing one way may be harmful, and to never allow yourself to admit that that way of thinking is wrong and that you can grow from it and change from it is ultimately just detrimental to yourself and those around you and your relationships with others. For example, I used to work with this one guy. Not going to drop his name for, reasons. But he used to always come into work and he would complain that none of his cousins or, anyone like that used to want to hang out with him anymore. And that he started to feel really, really lonely and sad because he had grown up with, these family members, these relatives, his cousins, and so on. And they grew up together. They always had fun together. He loved every minute that he spent growing up with them and hanging out with them. But then one day they just, stopped hanging out with him and stopped reaching out to him and talking to him. And he just would always express how sad it made him and, lonely it made him feel and unwanted. And of course, we would try to console him or whatever, until, one day we started to notice that he would sometimes occasionally spew out some kind of harmful ideas. To summate, or summarize, um, let's just say there were some comments slightly leaning towards homophobic and racist. And so after learning a little bit about his character in that way, we were starting to connect the dots a little bit. And then one day he mentioned that he had more than just a couple of cousins who were actually members of the LGBTQ community. So at that point, it became obvious that, like, hey man, your cousins probably don't want to hang out with you anymore and probably stopped reaching out to you because they recognized that you're not very accepting or understanding of their lifestyle. And you won't admit that your way of thinking is wrong, nor will you acknowledge that it is something that you need to kind of change. And that's why they stopped hanging out with you. And it sucks because in those situations, it does leave you feeling lonely and unwanted and, the way that he was feeling. But it's something you can change by just taking responsibility, holding yourself accountable, addressing and acknowledging the fact that this is something about yourself that you may need to change and that maybe your line of thinking was wrong, and then doing something about it. So, it's a long-winded way of saying that we can all benefit from just allowing ourselves to be a little bit more open-minded and holding ourselves accountable and taking responsibility for our actions when we have done something wrong, because that's the only way that people will ever forgive us, the only way that we will ever forgive us, and kind of the only way that we will ever grow and become better. And that's the goal here, right? It's to become better. That's what all of us are here for, especially you and me. Whoever's watching this video right now, you and me, right here. Trying to get better, trying to become better every single day. And that's what this is for. So start taking accountability. Start taking responsibility. Be better. Do better. But yeah, again, starting to take up way more time than I imagined I would. Speaking on this one topic, I don't want to get into too many of my own allegories, personal stories and whatnot, anecdotes. So I will cut it here. That will be it for part 3. Yeah. As always, if you're feeling like you want to share anything, positive or negative, you got some news you want to share, maybe you just need someone to listen, maybe you want to talk back and forth, have a little tete-a-tete, feel free to always reach out to me 24/7, 365 through any of the various social media links in the description below. They're always there, every time, because you're not alone. You're never alone. And if no one told you today, you look good. I love you. I'm proud of you. Keep going. You got this. But yeah, that's it for now. So, till next time, peace.